Hey, I want to come to you to talk about the number one reasons bookkeepers stay stuck under $5,000 a month. Now, this video is very near and dear to my heart because for the first 6 months of my business, I was at $0 per month. So I wasn't even close to 5 grand a month. So I want to be able to help you understand what are the actual things that are stopping you from finding success so you can turn it around. Okay. So number one is going to be who do you spend your time with? Now, a lot of people might say, I don't really have that much time. Okay, and that's okay, right? You can really get away with starting your business with as little as one hour per day of marketing. Okay, if you can spend some extra time, like once you start getting clients to do the actual client work, okay, that's great. Now, within that 1 hour, if the less time you have, the more selective you have to be with this time. So if I'm trying to 5 grand a month, I only have an hour a day to do marketing, okay? I need to spend my time with company owners that are doing at least $1 million, $2 million, $3 million per year, right? That's really the only way you're going to do it because let's say you only have about, let's say 10 hours per week times four. So you have 10 hours per week times 4 weeks. That's about 40 hours. So if we're trying to make, let's say we have to get to about $8,000 in order to, let's say $8,000 a month in order to leave our job and we only have 40 hours, we can do the work. That's about, what is that number? That number is wrong. You have to be making about $200 per hour in order to like really make that. Now, in order to do that, you have to be charging a really good flat rate in order to really make that work. So what is that? It's $200 per hour. Now, the reason why it's important, right? Okay, because most times, if that means that if you get a client that's paying you below $200 per hour, you've automatically disqualified yourself from being able to reach that $8,000 per month goal. Because most people are not going to be able to charge a flat rate that equates to about $200 per hour. Most people's flat rates equate to more like 50 to like $60 per hour. So you're not going to be there. So let's say it's $60 per hour is like the rate that you automatically default to, times about, what is that, 40 hours? That means the max you can make in your business is only $2,400, right? So it's like you're going to be capped. You're not going to be able to make it there. So you have to go after clients that are willing to pay you a higher amount of money per hour that you're working. That should only be a much larger client because the need is much bigger and they respect what you're doing a lot more. If you ever have to explain why what you're doing is important or convince them of your value, you're not going to be able to charge them the amount of money that you need to, right? A lot of the stuff when it comes to being successful in business is going to be about pre-selection, right? When you get on the phone, you don't want to be talking with someone who you have to objection handle. If you have to objection handle them, it's not going to work. Now, a lot of people are going to fall into objection handling because the way you present your service and present your value is not really that great. But if you have a really accurate value presentation and they fully are like an educated prospect, they're doing really well financially, they're going to pay you those higher price points without a lot of objection. It's actually funny. The sales where you get like a $20,000 or $30,000 cleanup in a lot of cases are actually easier than a $300 per month sale in a lot of cases, right? Now, next thing is low retainer clients, they create more work, not less work. Okay. I know it sounds weird because it's some people will come to me and they'll be like, okay, I got a $300 a month client. It only takes me about an hour worth of work per week. Okay, yes. But at the same time, there's the communication with the client if you're actually doing it on a good level. Okay. So let's say that in order for you to go and get to about $8,000 a month, I'm using my calculator again, 8,000 a month divided by 300 divided by 300. That's going to be 26 clients. Okay, so let's say if each client takes, let's say they take 1.5 hours to do per month. Okay, that means there's 40 hours worth of work. Plus, if you have to do a client communication, so right, so one meeting with them a month plus back and forth emailing, so we have to multiply by two. That's 80 hours right there per month on those 26 clients. What is that divided by four? That's 20 hours per week. That's a full-time job. That's gonna be very hard for a lot of people to do. Versus if you only, let's say that you did $4,000 divided by $150 per hour, let's say. So that's incorrect. 4,000, and let's say it's only taking you about, let's say it takes you about 2 hours to do the work, right? A lot of times, these clients, when they're bigger, they're going to be a lot less needy they're not going to be messaging you as much. They're not be texting you as much. It's not that they don't want to be informed on what's going on. It's just that their time is so divided by all the different things inside of the business and all the different fires that they're putting out that they just don't have time to get in front of you. Now, a lot of people, what happens, like as soon as a business starts hitting like $1 million or $2 million a year, a lot of us start like putting these people on a pedestal. Now, to put this in perspective, oftentimes the people that are running a $1 million to $2 million per year company, especially if they don't have good like bookkeeping or good accounting, those businesses are a mess. I've seen I've seen in like just online, just behind the scenes kind of forum talk that some of these companies doing about $1 million per year, in some cases, actually only have a 1% profit margin. So to put that in perspective, let's say that they're making about $1 million. So I'm gonna put on my little calculator, times 0.01. That is $10,000 per year profit. And that's not saying that they pay themselves. That's what their profit is. Like literally, some I've seen some people actually go negative because they're so trying to make $1 million that they abandon all their fundamentals. They do things that are very short term, and they think in a lot of cases like, okay, I wasn't profitable at $700,000 a year. I wasn't profitable at 800,000, but if I can get to 1 million, 1.2 million, that's gonna be all my profit. But the mess scales with them, right? So in a lot of cases, if you're thinking this person's just this magic person and you're putting yourself down thinking, wow, I'm not as good as this person, I don't know what I'm talking about, they're experts, it's really not going to be like that, okay? So, in a lot of cases, just really start learning how to interact with them. And here's a thing too, you're not being greedy or a bad person for going up market to start. So, some people think that, okay, if I'm not accepting every single person, I'm a bad person. Why should I choose only to work with the best ones when everyone needs my help? In the beginning, a lot of times in marketing and sales, especially for bigger companies, they have what's called up market, down market. Up market just means you're going after a higher revenue size client because they can afford to pay more. Down market means that you're going down because you're trying to expand and spread the width of your clientele. So you're trying to get as many of these smaller clients as possible to provide long-term security for your business. But in the beginning, to have short-term viability, right? Viability means be able to leave your job. You have to go up market because two or three of these clients can afford to pay enough for you to leave your job, right? You're creating what's called escape velocity. It's kind of like on the airplane, right? Everyone who has been on an airplane, if you haven't been on an airplane, maybe when you start working with us inside our mentorship program, we can get you some extra, it's a lot more cash flow so you can go wherever you want. But on an airplane, they always do this demonstration. And they say if the plane starts going down, we're gonna have gas masks fall or oxygen masks fall from the ceiling. And when the oxygen mask falls from the ceiling, if you have your child, do not go and help your child first. Put on your own air mask first, then help other people, then help your child. Now, a lot of people are like, that sounds reverse. I would want to help my child first, but I care about my child. Yes, but in the event of the plane crashing where there's no oxygen, if you take too long to put your mask on, you might pass out, and now the both of you are in trouble. So you have to save yourself first, and then you have enough oxygen, enough wherewithal to be able to go and help and assist other people. It's the same thing in your business. Your business, when you're starting, you are in a slow and sometimes not so slow descent. You are an airplane going down. The only way for you to go and save yourself and stabilize the airplane is to go and put on your own gas mask first, which is going to be getting better quality clients, right? So your business starts to, rather than go in free fall, starts to level out and starts to go back up. Once you're there and once you're able to leave your job or you're close to leaving your job and financially you're doing really well in your business, now you can start going and spreading out because you're going to have a lot more time to deal with people that are a little bit more needy. Now, next thing, the cheap client trap. Because we touched on this again, but I just want to kind of reiterate, you're not being greedy by wanting to go and get paid more money. Okay. In a lot of cases, it's very necessary. Now, here's the thing, right? When people talk about greedy, it's not like you're gonna go make $10 million a year and you're hoarding it, right? Usually people that let's say like you go to a church and you give and you tithe, right? Or you donate to charity. When you make more money, you're gonna be able to have more money to do the stuff that you're already doing, right? So it's not like you're gonna be hoarding it and you're gonna be like this like miser and stuff. Right, I just want to reiterate that who you are now is not necessarily going to change just because you have more money. If you get exponentially more money, right? So if you go from making 100,000 per year and then you start making $2, $3 million per year, that might, and it happens really quickly. Okay, maybe. But if you do a gradual increase, your lifestyle is not going to exponentially change and you are not going to become a bad person. Even then, I don't necessarily know if the amount of money you have should determine if you're a good person or a bad person. Because, and even the phrase good versus bad, greedy versus like generous, those can be words that are used against you to manipulate you to do what people want you to do, right? So always be careful of the labels that you put on yourself, right? I was talking to a student in our mentorship program, and he was saying, like, yeah, I don't know if I want to charge like high prices because I don't want to feel like I'm being greedy. And I was like, greedy? I was like, wow, that's interesting. I have not heard a relatively successful person that is hunting and growing their business say the word greed. Like I've almost never heard someone say that. That's not even a word that's in my existence. You know what I mean? So it's like somewhere along the line, someone he might have heard someone say the word greed. If you make more money, you're greedy. If you do this with money, you're greedy. I'm like, wow, that's crazy, man. Those thoughts and those things that are holding us back are the things we've heard a million times in our life that maybe we've accepted to be true and we never really thought about. Is it actually true? What does that mean? And like, how does that look for me? And then cool, next thing is how to start graduating towards better buyers, right? So I recommend starting with better clients at the beginning. If you're newer to the industry though, you could start graduating. So maybe you take on a client that's doing 100K per year, right? They're not going to be able to pay you a lot of money, right? The next thing you take on a client for $300,000 a year, like who is doing 300,000 a year. Then maybe a company doing 500K per year. And then you do $1 million per year company, right? And then once you're at the $1 million, then that's a pretty good, easy spot to stay, right? It's gonna be about between 900 to about $1,500 per month for that kind of client, right? In a lot of cases, sometimes you can get up to 3K for $1 million per year company. It just kind of depends. Now, what if you don't, if you're too scared to get any clients? Okay, first start practicing with sample companies, okay? Now, one thing I like doing is every single time that you work in a sample company, I would actually hop on Zoom. You don't have to show your face. You can just put like an image of you in like the bottom right corner and just record yourself going through QuickBooks. So now you have a portfolio of you actually doing books. Now, the client, if you ever show the client your portfolio and you're doing it, the client does not know it's a sample company. They don't, their QuickBooks looks different than yours. So they will actually think that you are working on a real company, right? So it's like they will see, okay, this person kind of knows what they're doing, this person has this skill set and that skill set. And that's how you can start getting your first like either pseudo testimonial or your first like work portfolio, like work, what's that called? Not portfolio, it's like a portfolio piece. And then what you can even start doing is you can even start putting in other bank statements and other numbers into QuickBooks and doing the same thing. Like every day, spend like 10, 20 minutes just practicing QuickBooks and recording yourself. Okay. That's going to give you a really big library of work that you can show other people. Okay. Next video, I'm going to talk about how to get bookkeeping clients on LinkedIn. So this has been a really good time. If you want some help growing your business, click the link inside the description. Book call myself. Let's see if I can help you in our mentorship program. Okay. I'll talk to you in a minute.